motion to approve the minutes of the April 15th, 2024 regular monthly meeting, Exhibit A. Any edits?
Yeah, Diane did.
That is taken into account. We recognize Diane Zeller as being excused.
Yes. Yeah, I would move to approve as amended.
Thank you. Second?
I guess I'll second as I was signed paper.
Reverse rows. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Alright. Our next item is the administrative operational report, and Bill, that was for you.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to get through this quickly. If you have any questions, you're glad to answer them. First of all, the Sewell Detroit short sea shipping study. Well, we're coming to the end of it. It's ongoing. I got to provide some more numbers, which with my schedule has been pretty hard, but I should get to it this week. Our aluminum, we had Evans Spirit on May 16th, Innovator on the 15th. It's a slow start. Usually we have about 3 ships at this point in time, but you have to take into account. Last recorded last week, we have 47,000 metric ton on site. We're basically full. So Novelis does not seem to be taking the aluminum fast as they should be. I don't know, Pat, did you get any inklings? Is it still the crane? Is it the production schedule?
It's the crane. They've got their big crane, keeps acting up. Their team has been out there crazy. Every time they get it running, it just shuts down now.
So does that mean they pay more storage?
No, not them, the customers. We're getting very high storage rates right now. So in a way, that's good.
Customers actually the broker, Novelis is buying it from the broker where it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, IXM, let's say Goldman, they purchase it, it sits on here, they pay for storage and the transloading. Reach factor, we got the bids. I have to go over the bid tabs. It's very complicated on this item because of Buy America, Build America. Actually, I'll be looking to do the preliminary on it this week. Global Marina restrooms are ongoing. Pat, Gary, and Jim have been over there doing them. They look fairly good. We should be opening first week of June at that marina, one way or the other. Maybe with cold water, but oh well. But there's a lot of items in there that that were not foreseen, and we're having to repair broken pipes and valves and rewire certain parts. Pat's been putting in dryers, things like that. We still got to spray, do a lot of other little items, but it should be open in June. West terminal repairs are ongoing. The one thing that we had in our last meeting, we were over there, is the pile driving company isn't coming the first week of June. It sets us back 2 weeks. They assure us we'll be on schedule for being completed in October. FTZ customer, I have signed a Form 216, which is the first thing to acknowledge the incoming of a new customer. I'll update you when I actually see the trucks and can touch and feel the stuff we're putting in the FTZ. But I don't sign 216 forms, which are remittance and customer forms, without it. Pretty much it's ended. They'll be here. PIDP grant was submitted. You have that in your folder. That's Port Infrastructure Development Program. We have not submitted one of these for several years. This one we did submit. I think it's a strong one. I did revenue and tonnage calculations on it, cost calculations. Elizabeth did a very good job in narrative, and Carl gave me the scoping. So I think it's a good team effort on that, and I think it's a strong one, especially after us going to, or actually I was part of the Buddha Judd meeting and Murad meeting, highlighting that the Great Lakes do not receive as much money as the other 2 coasts for this grant.
No,
Europe.
this grant, was it 23 million or so?
Oh yeah.
And we're getting half
About
of the
half.
grant.
No, we're not getting half. No, what
They're
is
about-
in the narrative,
Turn to page 11.
I've asked for a higher amount, 90%, which
That's
we
not-
qualified for,
But,
yes.
I mean, it is all contingent on that, because if you do a return on investment, if we're investing 12 million, it's a no-go.
Let's not say that publicly, because I have a lot of cards in my sleeve yet.
Okay.
There's a lot of grant programs out there, there's a state out there, and there's also a private company interested out there.
Okay.
So we take this one step at a time. And also understand this is the only one warehouse of its kind on the Great Lakes.
Pretty
On dock.
expensive. How did we come up with that? Who did the,
That was what CNS engineers
Okay.
do. Square footage, it may go down in cost, but it's always to be on your application, always to be a little high side than low side.
you know, based on square footage and what they perceive to be the value, it just seems high. I'm not, obviously, I'm not an architect.
I'm not an engineer, so I can't,
I don't know if
I'm-
Tom in his banking career ever saw industrial estimates of price per square foot.
Oh,
And I know this is a
I have to
unique
know the
product,
price per
there's
square
no
foot.
caps.
I don't know how much square feet. it was.
you have to understand this is climate control building. Climate means
And they-
humidity
they've
and
done a lot of
temperature.
improvements. in
How
that.
many-
That's a huge HVAC system that has to be in. It's gonna be a total of 28,000 square feet, usable around 22 to 24,000 square feet. Because you can't, you're at the dock, loading area is not gonna be storable. There'll be, you know, facilities in there will not be, a little office will not be storable, so those are as. If you don't, if we get the money and you don't wanna do it, you don't have to accept it. I'm just saying, with Micron moving on in and Novellus, this will make money. And you forget, we weren't on the board, you forget, I went to the state, got $15 million. How much do I have to come up with down here? Less than 15. I think we can, I think this is not a bridge too far
Okay,
to allow me to advocate. First step is doing the application, second thing is actually get approval, because we've got 5 years to do the project, which
and
means,
that was my only
Yeah.
question, time-wise, if approved, you've got how long, up to 2007?
2027.
Oh, yeah, we're not, 2026.
It's all right, I think
No,
those
no,
numbers
we're back to
myself.
2007.
At least I'm not writing 2023 anymore.
Okay,
This includes a frame.
Yes. Gantry crane that's capable of handling a roll,
Mhm.
containers, etc. And I think those are good questions, Stan, but then again, I heard those questions when you look out at that. And I think that
we did it.
just let me do what I do, and I think we'll be all right. But I'm not guaranteeing it, I'm just saying as past practice is. And I think the state is vested in Micron, I think the state's vested in a lot of things. And I think that, you know, at least we got an argument out there, I now have a grant, and if it gets approved, then I have a strong argument to make on several types of grants that we can go after and match, and I don't need it all in one day, or 1 year, so. But good questions, and yes, I was thinking about that, Stan, as I did it, and believe me, that was a day of sleepless night as I got those numbers and said, go with it, because I think it can be done. Oh, where am I? New roof, the marina, bathhouse, this side, it was totally bad. We needed to do this a few years ago, but it's done. We're gonna finish it up next week with some soffit around it, and that was very important. And by the way, Jimmy Minor and Gary are down at the marina now. There was some water damage because of the roof. They're repairing that in-house, so that will be up and operational, I would say within a week, and they're doing an excellent job, so. Refurbishing, painting the marina restrooms on the east side. I just told you that had water damage. Also, the fish cleaning stations, which are not open, only to the fish captains. We went through a renovation early this spring on that, repainted, freshened that area up. Oswego County Micron Steering Committee, well, what can I say about it? It keeps going on. I'm a member, I listen. Nothing new to report, except you all understand that $6.1 billion was awarded last month to Micron, so all the naysayers can now just be quiet. It's coming, it's being built, and no, they're not bringing all the material by
Million or
rail.
Billion or million?
Billion.
Thank you.
6.1 billion. No, they're not bringing all the equipment on by rail. I've heard that so often, I don't even like to address it any longer. Aggregates coming by rail. They're still looking for avenues of transportation for hundreds of millions of pounds of materials they're going to need for it. We were visited by the people from the Alouette Mill. That's up in Step Deals. That's the one that produces all our ingots out here that we love to store and make money on. We're happy about that. They came in, they haven't been here in a decade. They
Wow.
came in and took a tour. I took them on a tour. They're very impressed on our operation, very happy about it. We are the fastest unloading port on the Great Lakes, even with our problems, right, Pat? On getting in the Evans Spirit, getting forklifts in to start out because it's so compacted. Our guys, I should give a shout out to the ILA. They are excellent at it, and we are highly productive.
How's that measured?
Measure what?
When you say the fastest unloading, is that?
Because they have a time in and a time out in metric ton. Yeah, they keep track of that. The Alouette Mill keeps track, and so does McKeel, because quite frankly, what happens is that they do their schedules weeks, a month out, and if they can plan on X number of metric ton in a certain period getting unloaded and on and on and on, all that adds to their revenue and decreases costs overall. Boom, 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 boom. St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation, several years ago, several of us on the American Great Lakes Courses Association brought up a marketing idea for the St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation. You met Adam and Peter, and Adam was here giving us last year a St. Lawrence Seaway Award, is that they got $2 million for marketing. Well, they've been sitting on it. It was brought up in a meeting over a year ago now by myself and Paul Lemire of Port Monroe. We'll spend it on the local ports by giving us video tours, a marketing tour. And they finally decided to do that. The first visit was last week. They did some canned video of the area. So what they're looking at is developing a marketing tool for every port on the American side. The St. Lawrence Seaway is part of, as far as U.S. Department of Transportation, a public authority, not private ports, that we would be part of a ad campaign. So it's not, we're not competing against the Port of Monroe, Duluth, whatever. It's just highlighting our port, our product, our people, our equipment.
And now, who's doing this?
St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation.
Cool.
They received $2 million in the budget to market. New York State Freight Plan, I'm a member. Nothing more to talk about other than we're talking about rail and road traffic, and my primary topic there. We had a visit from leadership of Oswego County last week.
Strange name for an organization.
What?
Plan.
Well, it is a plan. And they, every decade, they redo a plan, and every 5 years, they update a plan. And they
Sure.
ask a certain group of people in the state.
You're a member of a committee that helps.
Yes.
Plan.
Yes, we're actually putting the plan together. You know, my emphasis is they didn't even include St. Lawrence Seaway last year, and I got them to put it in the plan until they, well, I always advocate for the ports, and I don't advocate just for this one in that regards. I was advocating for Ogdensburg and Oswego, saying we're on the St. Lawrence Seaway, we're an important vital transportation route. Most notably, you know, we carry more bulk freight than rail does. So they added us in this time. Visit from Oswego County leadership. This was just a stop by, run through. I gave them a little presentation, very nice people. They ask a lot of good questions. They're the group that, I mean, some of you have been, like, maybe some of you have been, have you ever been in leadership of Oswego County?
But many people through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good, it gives you an idea of the government operations, business and stuff that you normally wouldn't get just living here. It kind of nails down in a lot of different areas. Dome 4 completion, we're getting close to there. I don't know why they're not done yet. Carl's supposed to talk to them.
Blacktop tomorrow.
Blacktop tomorrow, there you go, blacktop tomorrow. So, we're getting close to that. Rail grant, you've got that in your package tonight, please approve it, over $1.8 million, 0% match, Stan, 0. 0, 0, 0. We get it for free. It's like walking in the store, Walmart, and they just hand you stuff, and you walk out and you don't get arrested.
Free or not, what is the value of this again? 2 minutes, you can.
Very well.
The value of this.
The freight.
The
Rail.
railroad.
$1.8 million.
No, what are you looking to do with the rail grant?
Buy a brand new electric locomotive. Okay? What we have at the port is an old diesel. It's a Tier 4, but it's diesel. And it's not capable of running more than 2 loaded cars up that hill. We need a bigger track mobile. We have a Hercules. That's not sufficient. When we look at adding the rail, now here's my mind, I'm putting a puzzle together. We look at all the rail improvements we're getting, and we're going to have them go to bid on. Then we look at bringing in a new customer who wants to do a lot of rail. And then we're extending rail down here, and we're going to load rail down here and trucks at the same time, because I'm getting that approved by DOT. Our track mobile needs to quadruple the amount of cars we can take up and bring down. That's what this will do. Because it's electric, there's 2 boxes we checked off with the governor. Well, the governor and me, because I wanted bigger, is that number 1, there's a big push to go green now and go to convert to electric. This doesn't. We're taking offline, which is up. Is it next year it's up, or this year? No, next year the track mobile's up on lease.
I believe so.
Okay, next year the track mobile's up on lease. We get to retire that, turn it back to the leasing company, get rid of all that carbon emissions, and replace it with an electric machine that's able to take not 2, not 4, but 6 to 8 cars at one time up and back. Unbelievable amount of volume. And the one thing that we do that's not in the financials is we pay for the Hercules right now in lease. 0 out it. This we own. We own it. It's ours. Maintenance. No more diesel. No more oil. We got electric. No more of the maintenance items that we normally would spend on the diesel equipment. It's gone.
Charging station?
Yeah, it's one.
We put $50,000 in for that. Now, I'm glad you asked that question. It's a good question. What did the port do a number of years ago? I don't mean to be rude. I'm looking at them here and out
Upgraded
there.
electrical.
Is that we already have switches which are at the appropriate amps and that we need to run charging stations. These were heated switches that were put in years ago that we don't ever use and not ever going to use because they don't work anymore. But the electrical connections are there, the boxes.
Okay.
Okay? So all we have to do is retrofit those with plugs, because the ones we're looking at, right, Pat, have plugs. They're onboard chargers. They're not like electric vehicles that you think about. You have to go Tesla. You have a charger, but ours you just plug in. It charges on the unit. That is what we're looking at. We have
Okay.
1, 2, 3 of those. 1, 2, three of those units. So we already have the grant, convert them over, we can plug them in, and the unit we're looking at, the voted bid, is that, 4? Where did I miss one? Oh, that's right, we got one down there.
Two here and actually one up at
Yeah.
by the
Yeah,
F.
we got more than I thought, Jesus, I actually wrote that grant, and he's,
Does it pull, push, or both?
huh?
Does it pull, push, or both?
Both.
Both, yeah. It's able to, push 6 to 8, and it'll pull a dozen.
Cool. What is the life cycle on something like that?
Life cycle guaranteed 10 years in the battery. But we're looking at different types of batteries now. There's the old style lead, there's a new style lead that I'm looking very seriously at. We've got that Alta came up and gave us, and Zephyr, and we're looking at lithium. I think the one in between, the lead, the new improved lead ones are better. They charge a little slower, but because a trackmobile or engine needs weight, the batteries provide weight on the unit that you would normally have to add in another way. So actually you're getting on electric more torque to be able to move things, and with the lead batteries, A, they'd be cheaper, and B, they'd be heavier. So we get a weight, onboard weight to move it, because just think of your car in the wintertime spinning. Well, the same thing on a track. So the more downward pressure we have on the unit, the wheels are able to grip more and move it forward. So the torque now, because the torque per inch, because they're big wheels, and also this unit has a rubber wheel. So it's better able to grip and move. So it is more capable of moving the rail cars.
And what would be the replacement cost when that 10 years is up and you have to replace the batteries?
Well, we'd have to amortize it over 10 years. Probably a couple $1,000 a year.
The replacement would be either you accrued enough cash in retained earnings to purchase a new one, either you've accrued enough cash in retained earnings to purchase a new one, or you've looked for a different source of funding to replace it.
And you have to understand, they're guaranteed for 10 years, we're getting it for 0.
Yeah, the only reason I'm asking that is because
No, it's a good question.
with the electric vehicles,
That's
I
why
just
my
heard
wife and I
such-
bought a hybrid.
yeah, I've heard such nightmares about how expensive it is to replace.
Well, I tell you what,
Batteries.
in 9 years from this year, invite me back, I'll go get you another one.
It'll be in a new
New
energy
one.
source then.
Somebody put that in the notes and hold him to it.
I just want to make a,
In 10 years, they'll probably be on right.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I hope
probably.
so, that would make it
I have a
sensible.
feeling. I personally have had a number of questions asking about the West Terminal, what are they doing? And the reactions have been, oh, good. So,
Yeah, they're doing
Hey, did
it.
speaking of that, did anybody get the invite from the Maritime Museum as far as their open house and all that?
You mean their, that little card that came in the mail?
Yeah, I was just wondering if anybody's planning on attending, or I thought it was it this weekend coming up, or did I miss it?
I
Last
don't
weekend?
remember
It was
seeing
Saturday.
It was Saturday, yeah,
It
it
was
was Saturday.
I wasn't past, did any of our guys show up?
No, I was supposed to.
I just wondered when we made, if we showed our face there, I was just curious.
I was supposed to, but I got suckered in plant flowers, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, all right, sorry.
I just want to make one other comment.
Is there
Regarding
Elizabeth?
the marketing video, FYI for the future, the theater department, one of the departments at the college has a crew of kids that make films.
Broadcasting.
And they made one for the Sterling Nature Center. They did such a good job, they've been invited to submit it for a national competition. It's really amazing. So, in the future, you might want to think about that.
Oh, we didn't pay
That's a
this,
great-
this is a federal.
Great idea.
We didn't pay either.
It's a great idea.
No, what I'm saying is, because it's federal money authorized by Congress, they have to go to federal procurement policy. So the St. Lawrence Sea, we didn't pay for this, you know, pennies coming out of our pocket. St. Lawrence Seaway Development is.
Something you're informed about, if you could see it.
Oh,
Something you're informed about, if you could see it. Doesn't apply to everyone.
You never know when you need a little local video. At any rate, any more, Bill?
That's it.
Thank you very much. And forward to financial reports.
Yeah, well, you know, we remain in a stable cash position. We're looking at reports from April 30th month end, and it's really just the very slow period. So, you know, on a net ordinary income basis, year to date, we're at a loss of 37,000. Compares unfavorably to last year, where there was a small profit. It compares unfavorably to the budget, where there was a small profit. But it's just not a large number, and really the coming into season now, we need to monitor this closely. Just to make sure that there's a flow of business there that is expensive to the organization. Otherwise, I would say the first month of the new year, new fiscal year. There's anything significant in there. The receivables are pretty clean, except for small amounts. Payables are very, very clean, very small right now. Receivables are small. We'll see how the next few months progress. So you're comfortable in the next few months?
Yeah, this is very slow.
When the marina revenue outpaces the ports revenue, then it's slow.
Well,
And that's because they prepaid.
as I said earlier, we have a slow start to the year because of shipping. Quite honestly. Novelis has not been drawing aluminum, therefore aluminum hasn't been coming in. We're getting storage on aluminum. The storage is not as good as ships. So I would suspect in the next few months it to pick up. If Novelis is in trouble with aluminum production, then it's going to come down to us. So.
Can I just make a quick comment? That we don't refer to our customers by name, just by customers. Because I think we're on the border there of infringing upon any of the rights of our customers, and I don't think they appreciate if this is public knowledge. So let's just refer to them as customers.
Good point.
Other than that, though, based on this first month, we can't tell the first month. Do you see any trends for the next 2 months?
I'll let you know next month.
You'll tell us
And
about.
then we'll only have to trend 1 month.
Okay.
It's too early, Stan, actually, to place it. There's so many factors whirling around right now. Stock market ups, cars are going, you know, this is like putting your hand on a moving item. You know, this is not a normal year for our start. I haven't seen a start like this. So, and I'm trying to determine what it is. But I don't have an 8 ball and I
Can't
can't
like
figure
the
it out.
weather, huh?
I don't know.
The national economy's indicators are counterintuitive at best.
Are what?
Counterintuitive at best.
Right.
Done for a long while with monetary policy and fiscal policy moving in different directions when they should move
to understand one thing, I never looked at first quarter as being a quarter that was gonna be a good quarter. I look at second and third quarter when we have contracts coming in. I'm looking at aluminum through rail coming in. I'm looking at startup of grain season. Those were the bulk is gonna be. We were supposed to have at least 2 more ships so far.
Anyway, for better or worse, we've got much excitement in here, and I will move to approve as presented,
Thank you, John. Second,
accept as presented.
Second.
Dan? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes. Chairman's report?
I'm nothing to report at this time.
Ditto. Oh, for committee reports. Executive committee, no report. Audit and finance.
The Audit and Finance Committee has not met since the last meeting, however, the audit is underway. I have a question or an internal control that I have due to the auditors. I'm going to shoot it out to Stan to meet him fully in the loop, and then there's only one challenging question I'm going to reach out to Debbie for the quote, but a good answer.
And we are gonna schedule the audit committee to come here
The-
June, July.
When they complete the audit, they'll present to the audit committee and then a quicker presentation to the full board.
And the presentation, I mean, we get the booklet, it's great booklet, but you get it there for the first time, you haven't had time to digest anything. Can we have the booklets a week or 2 before?
I will see when, as soon as they're able to do that we pass it on to. It depends on how, I did push up the audit this year a little bit
You could-
earlier, giving them more time to get it done within the
You could
period.
look at just, having the audit committee, with distance in advance of the board meeting, then they're presenting you with their audit. Then you have that to review for the further presentation and approval by the board.
But it's good for the board too, to have something in their hands before
That's true,
the presentation.
that's true. Good point.
Governance?
No report, but I did send a memo out to everybody that Megan did give me a copy of the handbook that goes to every employee. And there are things in there to take out, there are things to be rewritten, there are things to add. I think it's a fairly big job. So I hope we can at least get into that sometime this summer, but no report right now.
I don't think Diane has a copy of that, does she?
What?
Diane doesn't have a copy of that? You
I
handed it
would
out?
think everybody would have
Yeah.
a copy of it. No, well, people that work here would have a copy.
Yes, we have copies.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're just saying you want to make sure that Diane has one?
Yeah.
Yes?
I can ask Meg to get
We can have
Yeah.
a copy to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Would you prefer electronic or paper?
Paper.
Okay,
That way I can take notes.
Just remember,
Okay, 4:03. Bill, would you start our introductions, please?
Bill Schreiber, Port of Oswego.
Tom Schneider, board member.
Stan Delia, board member.
Kitty Macy, board member.
John Carroll Smith, board member.
Connie Casamento, board member.
Debbie Godden, port employee.
Kim Natoli, board employee.
Pat McMahon, port employee.
Yay. Thank you all. Our first Majaya is, and, I'm sorry, apparently I can't talk. Our first agenda item is to move to executive session. Do we have a motion, please?
I make a motion, we move to executive session.
Yep, thank you.
So moved, second.
At 4:04. We are now in executive session.
Some of the, just as a reminder, some of the policy book, the employee handbook is already codified with the CSEA contract.
Mhm.
So you gotta look at
Yeah.
when you do anything, you gotta look at if what the contract says too.
Yeah. So it's a bigger job than I thought it would be. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, well,
Planning and
why.
development?
Planning development, I joined in a meeting with the mayor and people from the H. White Museum, and I basically, and the DLR, I can't remember her name, I don't have it with me right now. But I was going to bring my booklet packet, and I will see if I can get it scanned, and if anybody wants a copy of it, I think you have a copy already,
I
right?
do, yes.
Okay, so if anybody wants a copy of what the plan is that the H.C. White Museum has been putting forward and the DLR has reviewed, it's interesting then, like we were talking, is that they're looking at trying to find a new home besides the home they have had here at the port. But they're still in that planning stage.
Right.
Okay, that's it.
News, okay, and to old business, none, any? New business. To
CNS
approve
company?
contract with CNS. Any, would you want to speak to that, Bill?
This was approved last year, their contract, this is a contract, that the standard contract. All I'm asking is the council now is going over it with their council, there's a few minor lineouts, nothing major, but we really need to put this contract, sign this contract, because it's been out there since, was it March of 2023? And they've been working without a contract since 2023.
Well, basically it says they're being paid on an as-is basis, and there's a letter of authorization, so it's not being retainer agreement, it's contracts for their use of services.
This is just a duplicate of what the prior,
We never had one before.
we haven't had one, I thought.
No, what you did is, we put out a bid last year, last late winter, and they were awarded it, because of an RFQ, request for qualifications. That you awarded CMS. It took months, if you remember, to get a contract, and then when they gave the contract, we turned it over to the attorneys. Well, I think you all know we were very busy last year with all kinds of little attorney stuff. So the attorneys never really turned this around. This was one of those items I put on the hot burner. I wanted to get this done and over with and signed. So this is basically a year old. We have an attorney looking at it right now, JP, which now has taken over sort of lead with us on all contracts from Micah. And he basically has a couple minor, but I won't sign until he gives me the okay.
Okay. Our insurance agent, we do know this too? I mean, unless.
This is not like insurance
Well, there's some
related.
insurance clauses in there.
Yeah. But they're superseded by anything we have, so there's no items in this that are nothing that a standard contract we don't deal with.
Okay.
The one that I thought a little unusual was 6.1.1. The use of documents where they retain ownership of the documents, so when they pay for services, you own the outside.
We own it when it's built. If they, and you know, how many documents have we received from them that are in draft form? They own those in the sense they own them. When it's built, then it's ours. They turn over, actually what happens is they give CDs and actual built documents, then it's ours. Now, they always are good enough to store on their system. If we have a question, I can go back and get the digital copies of them. Because let's face it, we don't have a digital system big enough to handle what they handle.
Yep.
But that's basically standard.
Okay. on it, really, make sure you were aware of how it was.
I read this over a year ago, and I went through it with JP, the attorney, and it's not done yet. He's got a few questions for their counsel, but again, it's been the practice of the board that it gets okayed, with counsel's okay.
Let me make a motion then to authorize you to execute the agreement between owner and consultant for periodic professional services as presented, contingent upon review by council. And with moderate amendments there too, with any significant amendments brought back.
Second?
Second?
All right, Tom moved and
John?
John
John
second. I'm just reading my own writing. Any additional comments, considerations? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes. Thank you. Okay, next, a review and approval of Minority and Women's Business Enterprise, WMBE, procurement strategy, and it's Exhibit E.
Language primarily comes from the state.
Yeah, it's considered boilerplate.
Yeah.
These aren't items we actually
Amendment.
change. And actually, there's no motion to approve these. They're just review items.
Just review.
So take those.
Well, it does say review and
Motion
approve, so you do have to approve it, so.
I think that's okay, Sam, your turn.
Did you say,
I did not move.
you did not move?
No, I'd be happy to move, but other things.
Well, we'll put you down for
represent
movement, or,
themselves. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
At least once a day.
A second?
Second.
Diane?
I need a beer. Diane, thank you.
Welcome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes.
G is the same thing for veterans.
Exactly, review and approve the adoption of service disabled veterans on business, SDVOB, global plan exhibit F.
Again, basically all this is the state tells us what to do.
I don't have anything.
Under F.
Okay. Should be that. Oh, here it is. Sorry. I don't think I should be.
We have to approve this one as well?
I
Yes.
read it. I
They
read
were
it.
supposed to be in the annual where you approved everything,
Yep.
but apparently they got left out.
Keep.
Again.
It's regarding contracting with
Solution.
MWBDs or SDVOBs.
Yeah, this service disability veterans, just like MWBE, except there's no cutout for them, it's 6%, we have to try to achieve.
Okay.
As a veteran, I appreciate that. I'm not qualified, I didn't get disabled.
How
None.
many of our
Here's a
employees are veterans? Is that,
Well, at least physically,
is that something that we keep track of?
yes, we do.
You-
We have percentages on everything.
You have one dedicated employee that tracks. all
Boy,
this.
that's a good question, Stan. No, we don't.
Sure.
And it
I thought
only,
there was something in there about the hierarchy.
There it is.
there is.
Yeah, it's big blue boxes on
Yeah,
page
yeah.
7 of the SD, you know.
I mean, and this applies to any job that we're gonna do, like projects that we're doing.
This is like everything else here, we have multiple jobs we have to do. I started the MWBE program over a decade ago. It was this big, now it's this big.
Yeah.
SDOV, I started this big, now it's this big. Ethics,
Yeah.
this big, now you're causing me to
Huge.
do this every few days, okay?
Just because
So
of-
it's like everything else, I don't wanna be negative, and thinking I don't appreciate government regulations, but there apparently is a trickle-down effect from the top, and we're in buckets catching it. And the bucket's getting full. At some point in time, you're probably gonna have to hire a part-time person to do this and that, because Meg right now is doing HR and payroll. Everybody is at max, and eventually, and I don't wanna sound like like some people, but the the regulations are getting to the point where your compliance reporting is becoming almost a full-time job.
Sure.
And then compliance, I mean, when I originally was in the first job, manager administrative service logistics, compliance was part of my job. I was able to handle this, and this, plus all the other stuff, environmental stuff. Now it's gotten to the point where I don't see how we're gonna handle it in the next 3 or 4 years.
At the bank, we moved over a period of 15 to 20 years from maybe half an FTE to, compliance officer being a very significant position, reporting to the audit committee with a staff of about 6.
Wow.
And actually, we do not even
But the
have
banks
an
made some
internal
mistakes along
compliance.
the way, and they get hit with some pretty big laws that do not friend them.
I mean, we don't even have an internal auditor here, which technically we're supposed to have. And I'm an ethics officer, but yet you hire me, but am I supposed to say you're unethical? I mean, this is just patched together with duct tape and hope. And at some point in time, governance or somebody else needs to readdress all this, because as we get bigger and busier, things are getting bigger and busier.
And with that in mind, do we have a motion?
To do what?
Do we
Well,
have a
I
motion in
think
a second?
we needed a motion and a second to adopt this service
Veterans?
disabled veterans
Yes, we do.
business goal plan.
The adoption of service disability veteran-owned businesses.
I'll make a motion.
Diane, thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay, John? If there's
Aye.
no- all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Right. And for, next agenda item, to review and approve New York State Department of Transportation grant agreement for the electric rail car mover, comptroller contract DR 39098.
And we had discussion about this earlier.
Yes, we did.
So I'm going to just make a motion to move it?
So Diane, would you like to? Yes. You
I'll
asked all
second
those
it.
great
I'll second
questions. Kitty?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. It's our coming. And ad hoc, number 11. Review and approve the Fourth Amendment to Terminal Service Agreement between Port of Oswego Authority and Nutrien Ag Solutions, Inc., which has been reviewed by the Port Council, and to authorize the Executive Director to sign and complete any and all paperwork regarding the agreement. So Bill, you wanna?
Yeah, this is a year old. We've
Yeah.
been going back and forth on one and one only item on the contract. It is section, God, now it's been so long, I don't even know what section it is. Yeah, well, your dollar sign we gotta do too. We're agreeing to the contract that's been basically in effect for a year, is that what we had is that I had, when the number of potash loads dropped below a certain number, they cost us money. There was no provision in any of the amendments or contracts that we could go back and say, okay, well, if there's 15 cars or less in that preceding week, we can reduce our standby time. Standby time is a guy in a loader waiting to load a truck. It's on section 2D, loading of trucks for off-season months going into December, or when 15 trucks in the preceding week, parties will negotiate good faith to terminate to reduce standby labor the amount mutually acceptable. That's what we needed to put in. We got it put in today. Steve Harrison and the company came in. We agreed. That was the only thing that we were waiting for them to agree to. They did. It was reviewed by the attorney prior. I'm all set. They've been here over 35 years. They're a good customer. They're our anchor. And I think this keeps our good relationship going, and it shows that, you know, negotiating in good faith brings results.
Technology, a lot of potash.
FYI, number 2 on page 1, 2B, switch fee per car is $40 with $1 sign. Just, I asked because, just in case one of those dollar signs was gonna be another number.
I'm gonna deduct it off the attorney's fees.
Okay, tell them that.
Any questions? Finally, do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
Diane,
Sorry.
Stan, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes. Do we go to the order or anything? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Oh, second it. Woo-hoo, how early?
5:15.
It's my official job. I apologize for being late.
The next meeting is June 26th.
Okay, it's a little bit late.
You'll be back June 26th, Fran?
Yep, I'll
Okay.
be back, first week in July.